Hey everybody, welcome to Got the Fire! I'm Duncan, your host, and I'm so excited today to have David Allee, who is so many things to so many people, an overall badass and awesome human. He's the founder of the Jazz Kitchen, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary.
25th, yep.
Huge deal. Also the founder of the Jazz Foundation, and he runs the Indie Jazz Fest and does just so many things. He's hosted everyone from Harry Connick Jr. to Pancho Sanchez. You're my man.
Thank you, man.
I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And let's start by talking about, Dave, you're still a young man. You were really young when you started
Thank
this.
you for noticing. Yes.
You were really young when you started this. Like, what made you start the Jazz Kitchen?
Well, it's interesting. I had a bicycle shop at the time, and we were going through this seasonality issue. It was like, I don't know, it was January, and we were, there's not a bike repair to be made in sight. So, I don't know, we're just kind of looking around. A friend of mine, we were coming through this place, and actually this corner right here, 54th and College, has a great history of jazz.
Music, yeah.
Place to Start was here, Crazy Al's was here, Kilimanjaro for reggae. There was a punk club in there as well. So, it's kind of been always a music corner. I grew up at 48th and Broadway, so I knew about that. My dad played here with his big band back when it was Crazy Al's, and with the Place to Start as well. So it was just kind of one of those, I don't know, everybody asked me, how'd you decide to do it? It's just, there was no calculation, there were no spreadsheets, there were no business plans. It was just kind of like, we really love this music.
It was chaos and creativity.
And we really wanted to make more opportunities for the music to thrive in this town.
And all over the country, it's a known fact that the Jazz Kitchen is a hardworking local club. You get national acts, but you feature a lot of local acts.
Yep.
And it's always open. You have great food.
Yeah, it's interesting. We started with just a real simple menu. We didn't really have a clue as to what we were doing in that department. So we, at some point, decided, hey, we got to make a little bit more money to keep this thing running. So, we watched a lot of Food Network and and learned how to cook. And so we were actually fortunate. There was a guy named Don Horseman, a bartender, about second or third year, that came in and had a lot of experience in the kitchen. He was a great bartender, but also a great cook. And he helped put it like the Not So Cajun chicken that's still on there.
Oh, it's amazing.
He brought our original bread recipe. We make fresh bread every day. So there was among a few other. I think the etouffee was originally his. So, we owe a lot to kind of that success or that part to Don and what he did for us. But we just kind of keep every year kind of upping our game and trying to get better at what we do.
Now you're running the Jazz Fest, and the Jazz Foundation does a lot for education and.
Absolutely, yeah. Just a clarification, I didn't actually start the Jazz Foundation. I was one of probably about 15 of us that there was a group of musicians and kind of interested parties and myself that kind of noticed early on that we needed to maybe do a better job of kind of connecting with people that were like-minded and wanted to keep this music front and center in the town. One thing that I think that a lot of people don't understand is that Indianapolis has such a vast jazz legacy. Wes Montgomery's from here, J.J. Johnson, Slide Hampton, James Spalding, Freddie Hubbard. These are guys that are still making a mark on the world scene. And some of them, I think Wes Montgomery passed in 68, 69. So, that just goes to show you how prolific he is and how much staying power he's had through the years. So
that's right.
Keep that alive.
And it's fascinating to me. I love coming to the Jazz Kitchen, and you can have a cocktail for lunch sometimes too. Cheers.
Yes.
And great cocktails, great food, great music. And you'll see a lot of new people, and there's lots of people that have been coming here for years as really kind of a foundation of the community. How did that happen?
Well, we're very cognizant of trying to be very inclusive of different styles of this music. So on a given night, you'll see something that may be more straight ahead, or something more Latin jazz, or something more big band. As you know, we bring a lot of soul music in here. There's a lot of funk. So it's just an opportunity for us to basically connect with different audiences. Each of these little styles has just a little different audiences, and so people listen at different one group may come in and maybe not be like quote unquote the biggest jazz fans in the world. They're just into live music and they want to hear something new. And so there's that side of things, and there's your just dyed-in-the-wool jazz fans that are hinging on every note that's played. So there's that side, and then there's a lot in between. So like you mentioned earlier, people celebrate their birthday parties here. People celebrate their graduations. When their kids turn 21, they want to bring them in here so they can share in what they've been listening to for the last 15, 20 years here. So there's a lot of cool stuff that goes on in that, kind of the one-on-one, more personalization, I guess, that makes this job pretty cool.
And I know that you've specifically mentioned that the Jazz Kitchen and all these events and organizations are open to all.
Yeah, of course.
Why is that important today?
I think it's natural. I mean, I don't think it's it's important today more than ever, but jazz has always been that way. That's the great thing about this music is it organically checks all those boxes that everybody's talking about so much right now. The diversity that comes to these doors on a nightly basis is kind of unparalleled, I think, in the city. I go around and certainly certain bands attract different demographics, but it's just a way for everybody to meet at the same place and kind of drop some of the day-to-day stuff at the door and let the music kind of take them to another place.
It really is wonderful to see how present people are, and they're just immersed in the moment.
Yeah.
I can remember back in the day when you and Joe from Yachts were the only real contenders on this corner, and I think that you all have played a really great role in economic development. I mean, you all paved the way for this corner, as Joe says, to be like a thriving spot for restaurants and beer and grocery stores and lots of new development.
Yeah. Well, I think obviously Mo and Johnny's and the Bulldog was here before then. Excuse me, Atlas Supermarket back in the day.
Where David Letterman started.
We've got our buddy Kevin and Tracy across the street at 20 Tap, that I went to high school with, which was kind of cool. We played on the same soccer team. So actually, interesting note, there's three of us that own restaurants. There's Ted Miller over at Bruges, and then there's Kevin at 20 Tap, and then myself, and we were the defense for the soccer team from Broad Ripple High School. So,
what up, Broad Ripple High?
I don't see the midfielders or any of the strikers making that kind of mark. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Defense all the way. Yeah.
That's amazing. So thank you for everything that you do. And I guess my question that I know people always ask you, who's been your favorite act or personality that's come through here that just has left a mark on you?
Well, there were a few. You mentioned Pancho Sanchez in the beginning. He's probably played here since '95, so pretty close after we opened. And the amount of swing that happens with that Latin band is phenomenal. It's a working band. Those guys are playing all the time. And he's just...
How old is he, 90 or 85?
No, he's not that old. I think he's probably mid-60s at this point. But we just had him in here not too long ago, and he's still killing it. And the band's killing it. It is super tight. So that'd be one. Ray Brown is also a special place. Ray played here a lot. Ray was maybe kind of best known as being married to Ella Fitzgerald, but was really instrumental in the advent of bebop, and he was actually played on every one of Frank Sinatra's holiday specials. For those that remember Frank Sinatra. So, but there's been a lot of guys like that. The thing about jazz is they won't always be, household names, but they're no less prolific in their field, and they're no less prolific in their playing, and so it's just really cool to see these guys come through. And then you mentioned the local guys. I get as much kick out of seeing, Jared Thompson or Rob Dixon or my dad Steve Allee, and their band cooking on a night as I do for any national act.
Yeah, we gotta love the local players.
Well, and we have, they decided to live here. Their abilities are world class, but they decided to make Indianapolis their home, and we're better for it.
Dave, one of the focuses, or the focus of this show is to focus on people that are doing cool things in Indy, for Indy, and way beyond Indy. And I know you have international guests here, and everyone, the Jazz Kitchen is not just a great place to hang out, but it really is a focal point for jazz music and a huge community around it in Indianapolis. So thanks for being on the show, man.
Man, I'm really glad you had me on.
Yeah,
Yep.
we missed that one. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.